Because of greed, in a remote village deep within the African savannah, lived a woman named Adako. She was known for her beauty and charm, but behind her enchanting exterior lurked a sinister secret. Adako was driven by an insatiable hunger for wealth and power. Despite her husband, Chike, working tirelessly as a farmer, Adako's desire for riches consumed her. One fateful day, Adako encountered a mysterious old woman at the village market. The woman's eyes glinted with a malevolent spark as she whispered to Adako about a forbidden ritual that could grant her unimaginable wealth. Desperate to escape the clutches of poverty, Adako agreed to meet the woman at the edge of the village that night. Under the cover of darkness, the old woman revealed the horrifying details of the ritual. Adako was to sacrifice her newborn babies to an ancient spirit in exchange for gold and jewels. The thought of such a heinous act made Adako's stomach churn, but her greed overpowered her maternal instincts. Months later, Adako became pregnant. As her belly swelled with new life, she grew more reclusive, avoiding the village women and their curious eyes. When the time came, she gave birth alone in the dead of night. The cries of her newborn son echoed through the small hut, but there was no one to hear them. With trembling hands, Adako took her baby to the edge of the village where a shallow grave had been dug. As she buried her son, tears streamed down her face. The ground seemed to pulse with dark energy, and the air grew thick with a sense of foreboding. But when she returned home, she found a chest filled with gold coins and precious gems. The ritual had worked, and Adako's wealth grew with each sacrifice. Years passed, and Adako bore several more children, each one meeting the same tragic fate. Her wealth increased, and she built a grand mansion on the outskirts of the village. To the villagers, it seemed like she had been blessed by the gods, but whispers of her dark deeds began to circulate. One night, as a violent storm raged, Adako went into labor again. She gave birth to a healthy baby girl, her cries piercing through the howling wind. Clutching her newborn, Adako made her way to the burial site. But this time, something felt different. The air was colder, and an eerie silence hung over the place. As she dug the shallow grave, a flash of lightning illuminated a group of villagers standing a few yards away. Among them was Chike, his face etched with anguish. They had followed her, determined to uncover the truth behind the disappearances of her children. Before Adako could react, the village chief, Eze, stepped forward. Adako, what have you done? He demanded, his voice trembling with anger and sorrow. Adako's eyes filled with panic. She clutched her baby tighter, her mind racing for an escape. But there was nowhere to run. The villagers closed in, their faces a mix of horror and disgust. One of the villagers, Nnamdi, had already alerted the police. Moments later, officers arrived, their presence a stark reminder of the law she had so blatantly defied. They moved to arrest Adako, but she fought back, her screams echoing through the night. She clawed and bit, her madness fully unleashed, but the officers overpowered her and wrestled the baby from her grip. As they dragged Adako away, the villagers unearthed the graves, uncovering the tiny remains of her children. The sight was too much to bear, and many wept openly. Chike fell to his knees, his heart shattered by the betrayal of the woman he once loved. Adako was taken to the nearest town where she stood trial for her unspeakable crimes. The evidence was overwhelming, and the court proceedings were swift. She was sentenced to life in prison, her wealth stripped away, and her name cursed for generations to come. In her cell, Adako was tormented by the cries of her children. The gold and jewels she had amassed offered no solace as the darkness she had embraced finally consumed her. Her once beautiful face became a mask of anguish and regret, a reminder of the terrible price of greed. Back in the village, the memory of Adako's wickedness lingered. Her grand mansion was left to decay, a haunting monument to her crimes. The villagers rebuilt their lives, but on stormy nights, when the wind howled and lightning split the sky, they told the tale of the wicked mother who buried her newborns for wealth. It was a story meant to remind them of the darkness that could lurk in even the most beautiful hearts and the dire consequences of succumbing to greed. The end.